This is a presentation on the business value of IT investment. The value of IT investments are very important. There are ups and downs in the economy. Large investments in IT may lead to an economic boom, whereas lack of investments may help facilitate a recession, like the one we are currently in. There is little margin for error, as information technology often contains much of a healthcare system's information. Evaluating costs, therefore, is very important because so much information is obtained in a system. A system failure or an incorrect calculation on return of investments may lead to serious loss by a healthcare system. VISTA is the Health Information Technology System for the Department of Veteran Affairs. It serves over 4 million veterans, making it the largest healthcare system in the United States. Therefore, it is one of the most widely used electronic health records in the United States. The source of the data was the Department of Veteran Affairs. We asked for the budget of the Office of Information and the number of electronic health records. We obtained this information through the Freedom of Information Act. The data in the chart was obtained from the Department of Veteran Affairs. It stretches across a span of 7 years and contains information from the budget of Office of Information, the number of records in the VISTA healthcare system, and the Veteran Health Administration's Cost Per Patient Index. The information on the previous slide was put into a scatter plot so that we could better understand the numbers presented. This scatter plot shows the relationship between cost per patient and information technology budget. The scatter plots are used to show the relationship between the two items of information presented. The stronger the correlation equals a strong relationship between cost per patient and information technology budget. Correlation is measured on a scale from 0 to 1. A number closer to 1 indicates a high correlation and a strong relationship. For this specific scatter plot, the correlation happens to be 0.32, which does not indicate a very strong relationship. The second scatter plot presented shows the relationship between cost per patient and number of records in the VISTA electronic system. The relationship between these two is stronger than the first chart, with the correlation of 0.79, which is closer to 1 than the previous chart. This indicates that the relationship between cost per patient and number of records in the VISTA healthcare system is a little bit stronger. The third and final scatter plot shows the relationship between information technology budget and the number of records in the VISTA healthcare system. This correlation is 0.58, which is a little over half. This indicates a pretty strong relationship, obviously stronger than the first scatter plot, but not as strong as the second scatter plot. The scatter plots presented in previous slides produce many results. There is a chain reaction. For example, we can conclude from the scatter plots whether investment leads to use, which leads to revenue, or if revenue leads to use, which leads to investment. There is a strong correlation in some and not so strong in others. This leads to conclusions that the relationship between items presented in the scatter plots has a strong relationship or not so strong. There are some limitations on the information we received from the Department of Veteran Affairs. There is bias, meaning that certain data may have been kept from us. There is also a lack of data based on the fact that some companies have not tracked their data well, and there's small sets of numbers due to the fact that was previously mentioned that companies do not track their data well, and because information technology might not have been around in hospital settings for very long, there aren't a whole lot of numbers to choose from. The benefits of doing the scatter plots with the data we received is that we can analyze this data to be able to tell if the company made a smart investment in information technology. Also, the correlation can show what areas need focus and what areas need attention in order to make sure that the company made a smart investment in information technology.